Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Not great. My name is Bill Matz. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Mortgage CS. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to start your home buying process today. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. Joining me tonight, Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle.
Yay.
Charlie O'Connor will be joining us from the Wells Fargo Center at some point. It's crazy. He stayed to the end when the Flyers didn't even show up for the third period.
He's a professional.
But Kelly, this is just the theme of tonight's show is simply why. Why do they do this to us?
Why?
How can they score? How can they score seemingly on command against Igor Shesterkin and then come out and do what they did against Montreal and now Chicago, two absolutely horrible teams? And like Montreal, like Chicago doesn't even compare to them how bad they are. Kelly, I just looked this up. This was the seventh win on the road for the Blackhawks this season.
Oh boy.
And it's even worse than that. They won 4 of their first 12 road games. This is their third win away since the second week of November.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They don't win ever, but especially on the road. And in what is essentially, I know, like must win, does the season end today? No. But it's a game you can't lose. They come out and get their asses kicked by, I mean, statistically, what, the second or third worst team in the league? But we can just say one of the, if not the worst teams in the league. It's an AHL team that has Connor Bedard on it. Like, what? How? Why? Why do they do this to us?
Great questions, Bill. The problem even that isn't like this isn't a must win. Like this is a should win. It's almost more frustrating than losing a must win. This is a should win game. There's no reason for the Flyers to come out looking like that against the Chicago Blackhawks. You could look at that Habs game and just be like, you know what? Sometimes it happens.
Throw it away and then just
you have a shit game, whatever. You got come back out against a team that you are markedly better than in every possible way, and you do this.
It's all year we have praised them for their ability to respond. Whenever they have faced adversity, they have figured out a way to come out on the other side of it. And as frustrating and as shitty as the last game was, I thought there's no way they do that twice in a row against an even worse team. And they're worse.
They looked worse.
Like this team is, listen, we've been through this. Yes, it's their now 15th game in the last 30 days. That's tough.
Sure.
Yeah, they haven't had more than one day between games in 2 weeks. That's absolutely, that's difficult. They play an up-tempo, physical, exhausting style they have all year. Outworking teams is how they have won. And maybe they are running out of gas. All these things could possibly be true.
Sure.
But we're 70-plus. Every team in the league is across the 70-game mark now at this point, I believe. Who isn't banged up? Who isn't tired? This is the NHL. How, these are not excuses. Do you think it's suddenly going to get easier in the playoffs? And I know that this is a learning season. The reason we're not tearing things down, as I've repeated, is like, all right, they have to learn what it's like to play in these important games. Figuring this out is almost as important as winning them. But damn it, we're here now. I would like to win them. They've worked their asses off all season to get to this point. To now throw it away at the easiest mark of the schedule this year?
So, okay, I've never played the game, but you have, Bill, at a high level. Does being tired make you, forget how to pass?
It's
It's just like they don't look like they know what they're doing.
they seem to have lost all ability to like give and receive a pass,
Can't
to
make any
handle the puck.
passes.
The littlest bit of traffic,
Can't clear the zone.
they just cough up the puck. The breakout has been non-existent. They're
dead.
trapped in their zone for 3-4 attempts, seemingly twice a period. This is the worst they've played all year. And they've had some bad games. Listen, it's not as if this year has been amazing.
No.
They're not that far ahead of last year's pace. It's just like the whole rest of the East stinks, so they might still get in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's pretty
But
funny.
the way they have played the last couple of games compared to what they even looked like when they weren't necessarily winning, but going toe-to-toe with some really good teams, it's like a switch has turned off and now they cannot find it.
You mentioned that Rangers game. They also put up 5 on Swayman. Like, they know how to score goals, and this wasn't that long ago. This was like a week ago,
These were
2
a
weeks
week,
ago?
2 weeks ago.
And somehow, I just don't understand what's happening. And I don't want to say this is John Tortorella's fault. But I do think that there doesn't, like, his own, we've said this a million times, his only switch is bench. Like, someone does something wrong, they sit. He doesn't seem to be, like, switching up lines. He doesn't seem to be switching up pairings. He doesn't seem to be trying to, like, throw some wrenches into shit to see if something will stick. Like, the team looks like ass. No adjustments seem to be made. He sits there on the bench, not saying anything, except apparently when yelling at Sean Couturier, the only guy who gets yelled at for whatever reason.
He says something to one guy, it's Coots, apparently.
But it's top to bottom, there's a lot of things to be frustrated about. And I do think you kind of have to, like, this is you're the coach. Like, it starts with you.
If we're going to give him as much of the credit, and listen,
Yes.
I believe if they can switch, if they get into the playoffs, I believe he deserves the Jack Adams trophy. 100%. I think the work he has done with the team this year,
Sure.
he is deserving of recognition. But if we are going to give him the credit for when they play above expectation, when they play, as you said, markedly below that,
Yes.
I don't know, man. If this is culture setting, it's his thing. Like, I don't know. Part of building a culture, you would think, is knowing that you have to come out and work your ass and win these games.
Yeah.
Like, come out and find a way to win. Dig down through whatever exhaustion, whatever small injuries, whatever it is. You come out and don't lose to Montreal and Chicago. You don't lose to them back-to-back. You don't lose to them with the playoffs on the line.
No.
It's embarrassing. What we saw on the ice tonight, I don't use this like I try, oh man, every loss is an embarrassing. Like, I try not to do that. And I have tried to give them the benefit of the doubt all year. Even said after the last game, listen, that sucked. Let's see if they can pull it together on Saturday, and I expect them to. They did the opposite of that. They come out, let up a goal immediately, and that's that. That was the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, this wasn't Ersson. Like, he didn't look great, but I don't think you can hang this loss on him specifically. It was just so messy, just like a jumbly mess, which I know is the kind of analysis people.
That's what they look like out there, trapped in their zone, running around, blowing assignments, guys wide open in front of the net.
Yes.
And listen, has Ersson been good? No, they scored 1 goal again. They were never going to win this game 1-0.
Against a goaltender that's had 4 wins on the season.
Yeah. And I see we have a super chat now, and it's something we might get into with Charlie as well.
Hello.
But from Kev A, he says, there it is. Did the Coots benching change the chemistry / locker room relationships to the point that now this team is broken? I certainly hope that's not the case. The struggles were coming ahead of that, and Couturier had struggled at the time. And no one's saying he's been good.
He hasn't been bad, though.
But my question is, who are these players deserving of the ice time? I have few complaints about Morgan Frost, Owen Tippett, Tyson Forster. TK had an off night.
He was not good tonight.
He's been pretty good for them for the most part all year. It's hard to he sucked tonight. Well, sometimes you don't have your best game, but the games are important now. You would like to see him beat up on a bad team. Who are these guys that deserve all this ice time? And like, it's not even specifically a Couturier thing. It's like, well, the dudes that you're putting out there consistently ain't doing it.
No.
They have 2 goals in the last 2 games against bad teams.
Yeah, he's doing weird stuff. Like, I understand what he wants from Sean Couturier, and this is something Charlie has said before. Yes, he's getting 4th line minutes. What John Tortorella wants, I guess, is for him to beat up other teams' 4th lines, I guess, and just dominate out there or whatever. I don't even know exactly. But his underlying numbers have been good. Visually, I think he's been pretty good. He had one gaffe tonight that wasn't even the worst part of the play in question when it happened. Like, I think he pinched a little bit and play went the other way, but there was also another bad turnover during that sequence, I think from Forrester. I don't remember. But point being, I don't understand the intense focus on magnifying every single one of Sean Couturier's mistakes when the team looks like it did tonight. And I don't understand, like, to what end, like, where are you trying to go with this?
That's my biggest issue with the Couturier thing now. Like, I'm tired of talking about it, honestly. Like, he hasn't done enough to warrant this much, like, airtime. But also, it's just so bizarre.
It's weird.
Like,
yes, that's the thing.
What is the end game here?
Right.
What are we working towards with him? Because as far as I'm concerned, he's untradeable.
Can't trade him.
He's got all this time. Like, you want to be paying him for the next 12 years if you buy him out? Like, what is the end goal here? I just don't understand. And that leads me into something I didn't understand until a couple of days ago. Now, if you're a pretty regular follower of this show, or, you know, before, back in the BSH days, if I ever talk about my financial literacy, it's probably not difficult for you to, you know, oh, Bill doesn't know a damn thing about money at all. So we get this, we have this new sponsorship from TrueMark Financial Credit Union, and I have to find out, well, what exactly is a credit union?
Look at Bill learning stuff.
I have to, like, learn these things so I can talk to you about them and not seem like a jackass. And in finding out what TrueMark Financial Credit Union is, the differences have been eye-opening. Seeing the difference between banking at a bank and becoming a member of a credit union. When you join a credit union like TrueMark Financial, you become part owner, which means profits come back to you instead of going to shareholders. TrueMark Financial has better rates, lower fees, and a better return on savings, plus more flexible options overall, and of course, the same digital tools and technology we all want. But the best part for me is that TrueMark Financial is local. They're headquartered right here. It's actually in Fort Washington, and they have 24 branches across the Philadelphia area. They are deeply rooted in our community. They serve our community and only our community, so their investments and programs help our people right here at home. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over being just another customer at a bank. It's a total no-brainer. Head over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more or find a branch near you. That's TRUMARK.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. There's just so many questions about this. And we're all entertained by John Tortorella's antics to some degree or another. At a certain point, he had a 45-second press conference after another embarrassing loss. Like, no, someone has to answer some questions about what the fuck is going wrong right now. Like, we're going to have Coors Light in a little bit, and I'm going to need to chill. That read is not just a read right now. I need to freaking chill. But, like, I don't know. The team seems to be chilling enough for the rest of us. I know that they're probably not just mailing it in. They're not like, oh, who gives a shit? Like that. Yeah. They're playing hard, but it's where did all of the urgency go? I'm seeing rebounds out in front of the net. Nobody attacking. I'm seeing shots taken from weird angles with no traffic.
Yes.
There's, like, you can't score. All right, teams go through scoring slumps. We know this team doesn't have the high-end talent to just beat goalies clean 5 times on a nightly basis. So that means you got to get fucking greasy. Go score a dirty goal. I'm not seeing the urgency to get your ass to the net and make the goaltender uncomfortable. I'm seeing way too many. Oh yeah, well the angle's not there, but he tried it anyway. And I'm seeing way too many shots from distance with no chance of going in unless Felix Sandstrom happens to be playing for the other team and he's just got like the worst depth perception in the world. And oh shit, like unless you're expecting to score on a fluke, I don't know what the strategy is on offense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everything looks like no one knows what they're doing. Like you said, tonight there were a ton of shots from like weird goal line angles that had no chance of going in. No traffic in front, no one collecting rebounds. When they did get shots, they were hitting the post, which like, I get that happens sometimes, but I feel like when it happens over and over and over again in several games, it's because you're taking shit shots.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how many shots they missed today. Because during intermission, I looked up the missed shot numbers because this has been a thing.
Yeah.
And it's been a thing recently a lot, just how much they're missing shots. They're actually 21st. There's 20 teams that have missed more shots than the Flyers. And I tend to use NHL.com for stats a lot. I think if you're looking for certain things, they're very good.
Yeah.
I simply do not believe that there's 20 teams that have missed more shots than the Flyers. There cannot be.
Feels like.
And tonight they missed, so 31 shots on goal. 15 got blocked, another 19 missed. Well over 50% of their shot attempts never had a chance. That's
it's not going to get
listen,
it
I
done.
know the other team's trying to, but you're fucking better than they are.
You're better than them.
Like,
yeah.
I know there's a lot of teams in the league we can look at and go, well, on paper, it's not like, what, did you expect them to win? Tonight, yes. Absolutely, I expected them to win. I expected this score to be reversed. Like, after the effort that they came out with against Montreal in those first two periods, I expected them to look like the team that answers the bell all season, and that score bug at the top of the screen, I thought it would be backwards. No, they got fucking owned by a team that flat out stinks and is playing for nothing.
That was the most frustrating part for me, was that they didn't just lose. They looked like shit. They got bodied by the Blackhawks pretty much from start to finish in this game. And I just don't know what do you do from here? Like, how is this remedied? Because it can't just be a matter of assuming that like the guys on the ice have to try harder. Like, that can't be it. Like, the special teams have been bad all season. They were abysmal tonight. Just atrocious.
My God. Like, this penalty kill.
What is Ryan Poehling doing on the power play?
You know,
Why are we obsessed with Ryan Poehling right now?
Like, we talked, JP and I did in one of the last post games about, like, I compared Poehling maybe, and like to compare him to Mike Knuble. Like, Mike Knuble became an excellent goal scorer. He also had his first 30-goal season at 30. And like, maybe you can develop Poehling into something of a little bit more than he is. Maybe on a power play too. He could be a power forward. He's fast. He's not afraid to go greasy. He's bigger than you think. But like, it seems as if it is a direct result of this is the Sean Couturier punishment.
Yes.
Like, Ryan Poehling is out there because we ain't going to use Sean Couturier. Like, that's the reason.
And the problem is that Poehling is good. He's a very good fourth liner. He was excellent in that role. And I understand wanting to reward a guy for playing well. I don't have any problem with that. And Poehling has played well for most of the season. But you don't turn a fourth line player into a top line player because they're playing well on the fourth line. Like, that shouldn't be how it works.
Before Charlie joins us, let's take a look around the league. And tonight, the Isles did lose in regulation 4-1 to the Lightning.
Caps lost.
The Caps lost in a shootout to the Bruins, so they get a point. And what was the other game? The Red Wings also lose in a shootout to the Panthers, so they get a point. So now we check the playoff standings, and there it is. The Flyers are 2 points up on Detroit for the wild card, with Detroit having a game in hand. The Washington Capitals have officially overtaken the Flyers. They have the same number, 82 points, and still have the two games. When do these games in hand get resolved?
I feel like
When do we finally stop saying this?
like the Flyers are just going to be off for 2 weeks and the Caps are still playing games, I guess.
There's like 3 weeks left in the season.
Yeah, what's happening?
When do we finally, but whatever it is, the Flyers now clinging by, basically half a game to that second wild card spot after spending, I think JJ said, like 60 some days in that third spot in the Metro. And listen, they could win out from here. You don't know with this goddamn team because they're absolutely freaking ridiculous.
Correct.
But this was your opportunity, this part of the schedule. And now you have a pretty meaningful game against the Islanders. The Islanders are 5 points back. You see them on Monday, and they have 2 games in hand as well, which, geez, like how? How have the Flyers played this many games?
I don't understand how the Flyers have played more games than everybody.
It's
how?
truly, like, they had that
like
long
literally everybody.
They had that stretch where they were ahead of everyone. They played the most games in the league. And then it seemed as if they had a ton of time off at one point, and nobody caught up.
I guess.
But it's very frustrating just watching what this team, it's frustrating. Watching what this team has gone through all, like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. I'm both.
both
this
of
is
those
not
things today.
This is not binary. I am both mad and disappointed.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them because through 75 games they've worked their ass off to be where they are. They're gonna blow it in the last 10. Like after that is both frustrating and angering. Like I feel bad for them and I feel bad for us, the fans, the people who are on board with this plan. Like, all right, man, it's not the way I would do it, but this has been a fun year. Let's finish it off. Let's get to the playoffs. Let's get these dudes some playoff experience. They're not going to make it at this rate. And that is horrendous.
I can't allow myself to believe that to be true because I'm not sure I'll be able to. My brain can't handle it right now.
You know what?
A super chat.
Oh, we got a super chat. Let's see. From Gary B. I missed the game. Did Torts force Cam A down?
He didn't, Gary.
Throats like he did on Thursday. No.
He got Garyanov.
Yeah, Dennis Garyanov came in. Ula Lixell remained out of the lineup, and it was Cates that missed last game. Yeah. So Cates comes back in, Lixell comes out, and Garyanov comes in, and he played 4 minutes tonight? Let's see, Dennis Garyanov, 755. 3 shots on goal, amongst the team leaders in shots on goal.
Oh.
No points, no hits. But, 3 shots in 7 minutes, considering.
I'm just glad they're playing him. I want to see what this dude can do.
Forster had 3 shots. Tippett had 5. York had 3. So he was tied for second on the team in shots on goal. And in a game where, 30 of their shot attempts never made it. It's not bad for Garyanov. But we'll see what kind of ice time he gets the rest of the way. These are the things we would do, with the Hackstall teams. Because it was all right, man, G and Jake are dragging this thing along. Maybe if we maximize the lineup here, optimize the lineup, and take Chris Vandevelde out for some, but that's not the problem right now. The problem is the top end guys just aren't getting it done. Like I said, there's about 3 guys on this team that I'm not absolutely what the fuck are you doing about?
Am I crazy? Is this a me thing with the lines? I feel like Torts jumbled up the lines with the Couturier scratching. And since Couturier's been back in, obviously has everything all jumbled up. I feel like there were some lines rolling maybe 15, 20 games ago.
Yeah.
Could we try them out again, maybe?
The Frost Tippett Konechny I'd like to see together.
Yes.
I'd like to see that checking line, Paling, Hathaway, and Cates back together. But all those things depend on, all right, we're not going to be mixing up basically having 2 fourth lines because of what we're doing with Couturier.
Yeah.
And again, no, Couturier has not been good. Name me the guys who have.
Well, that's the thing. If Sean Couturier on the 4th line as punishment went along with the rest of the team performing well, okay, if you want to keep making your fucking point, go for it, buddy. But nothing's working. So, maybe stop doing this and just start putting things back together that worked before and see what happened. I'm not asking you to try new shit. Stuff that worked before, John.
It's just, should Sean Walker get 5th place for MVP this year?
He might.
Is that what it's going to come down to?
I'm asking
Sean
Charlie
Walker,
to vote
who
for
no
him.
one knew who he was before they traded for him. He was the glue of this fucking
I guess no one else can make a pass out of the zone.
It's truly
No one?
watching, especially what's going on with the penalty kill right now.
Ooh.
It is in disarray. They give up, was it 1 or 2 power play goals tonight?
2, I think.
Power play, they go 1 for 3, did the Blackhawks. And that's like, it's just the Flyers' overall presentation tonight was a huge freaking bagel. The only bagels bigger than what the Flyers put out on the ice tonight.
That was good.
You get them at Bagels and Company, baby, because they have the best Brooklyn-style bagels made right here with Philly love. The first thing you got to know, huge. Bagel of bagels and a great selection of them, usually 15 to 20 different types to choose from daily, whether they're seasonals, whether it's something off the wall, like a Doritos bagel. Or Kelly told me they have like 4 or 5 different types of everything bagels. So whatever you're looking for, they got you there. And when you have that many bagels, you need a ton of cream cheeses, 30 different varieties to choose from on a daily basis. And the most important thing you need to know about Bagels and Company, they're an affordable brand. You get a lot of food for cheap, and that starts with the coffee. The coffee ain't going to break the bank, and it's damn delicious. So for the best Brooklyn-style bagels made right here in Philly, head to thebagelsandco.com/store-locator to find the Bagels & Co. near you. Someone I wanted to point out tonight before we get to Sam Ersson, because he's certainly had his struggles.
Yeah.
You know, this whole point I'm making about Couturier is just like, who's been good?
Yeah.
And I look at a dude like Joel Farabee, who Charlie is about to join us. He's a big Joel Farabee fan. This might be the first question I ask of him. Last 26 games before tonight, 4 goals, 5 assists, minus 18. 1 multi-point game in there is his 2 goals against Boston. The last 6 before tonight, no goals, 1 assist, minus 4. Tonight, no points, minus 2, 1 shot on goal. Joel Farabee seems to be playing enough. Where's he been?
Yeah.
Where's Charlie been? He's right here. Even when the team doesn't show up, Charlie O'Connor, Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, certainly does.
Yay.
And Chuck, if you just heard me going on about Joel Farabee, feel free to comment. But first and foremost, what the fuck happened tonight?
Yeah, they just play terrible. And that's really what it boils down to. John Tortorella, after the game, called it a drubbing. He said that, the first 3 games of this weekend, even including the Montreal game, he didn't think the team played all that bad. I agree that the Florida game, I think that was a goalie. That was the goalie problem. The Rangers game was one that could have went either way. Would have probably preferred a different tactic in a 3-on-3, but I agree. Game could have went either way. And the Montreal game, I think they got enough chances that they could have won that game. They didn't, because they didn't finish, and because for the first half of the game, their offense was non-existent. But on the whole, they could have won that game. This was not a game where you could watch and say they could have won this game. They played like dog shit against the second worst team in hockey. And one thing that was, I would say, the most interesting part of the postgame, because after the Montreal game, John Tortorella offered this up essentially without prompting, that he thinks the team is a bit tired. So we asked him, was this part of that too? And he's like, look, more or less, yes. Like, he was pretty open about his belief that, he said in particular, and I 100% agree with this especially, he's like, Sanheim and York are running on fumes right now. And especially Sanheim looks like he's running on fumes right now. We interviewed Sanheim after the game, and he didn't deny that, like, he's kind of out of gas. I mean, they've been riding those 2 defensemen hard because of all this defenseman injuries. They've been getting over 25 minutes a night pretty much every night. They look dead tired. Ersson doesn't look like he's mentally sharp at the moment. The team as a whole, they're throwing guys out there who just don't look like they're. It's not that they're exhausted in the sense that they can't do anything, but the passes aren't crisp. The back checking isn't quite as fierce, and the want is there. I think they want to do things. It's not like they're not trying. It's just that when you're tired, everything becomes a little bit harder. And I point to the power play goal that Chicago scored. Where they had 3 quick passes, one right after another, and the only way you can execute a play like that is if all 3 passes are perfect, because the guys can immediately pass right after. I don't think they've had a sequence of passes like that in the last 2 games at any time.
No.
Nothing has been crisp. Nothing has been sharp. And some of that's execution, absolutely, but I have to believe that some of that is fatigue, because everything's just harder to do quickly and efficiently when you're tired. And I think these guys are tired. The problem is that like they will get the 3-day break next week, and I think that will help. But they got one more game coming on Monday, a pretty big game. Like the Islanders probably aren't going to be part of this, but like they're still hanging around because the Flyers keep losing. And if you give them 2 points, suddenly the Islanders might be back in this thing. So it's a pretty big game.
Mm-hmm.
The Flyers need to find some way to get their energy back, to do just a hard reset. Find a way. I don't care if you get 10 shots on goal. Find a way to win that game, because it does feel like this might be slipping away.
Charlie, I get that they're tired. We've been through the schedule. 15 games in 30 days. They haven't had more than one game, 1 day between games in 2 weeks. All this stuff. I get it. They play a style that's up-tempo and exhausting. We're 70-plus games into an NHL season, though. Like, isn't everyone tired? Isn't everyone banged up and exhausted? Like, I understand, but listen, maybe this is all just part of it. Now they know what it's going to take to finish off a run like this, but you think it's going to get easier in the playoffs? I don't know. It just seems like while it might be valid, I don't know. I think 31 other teams have the exact same excuse, including a team tonight that is playing for fucking nothing.
They're probably not
They
tired.
stink. Like, shouldn't they just be mailing it in? Because, like, hey, who cares? No, they came out and kicked the Flyers' ass. Like, how is this a valid excuse?
Well, I don't think, like, I don't love the term excuse, because I think this is just what's happened. Like, I just think they are tired. Now, does that mean that every other team, doesn't deal with fatigue this time of year? Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, I can't remember if it was Torts or if it was Sanheim who more or less said that. Like, look, everybody's tired this time of year, so we can't use it as an excuse. But I do think that for multiple reasons. Number one, the style they play. Number two, the injuries on the back end. Number three, there's some key guys, like perfect example being one of the guys you were talking about when I came into the show and I was waiting to get rolled in, Sean Couturier. Like, that's a unique set of circumstances where not every team has a guy who's one of the 3 or 4 most important players on the team who missed a year and a half due to 2 back surgeries and then was given 20 minutes a night for the first 2.5 months of the season. Like, that's a unique circumstance. So I do think, while I agree with you that fatigue can't be used as like a catch-all excuse because everybody is tired this time of year, everybody's banged up, the circumstances have presented themselves in a way where the Flyers probably have gotten hit by it harder. Now, again, some of this is kind of on them. Like, they did not have to. I mean, I understand why they did it. They did not have to give Sean Couturier 20 minutes a night the first 3 months of the year. They did not have to play Cam York 30 minutes and Travis Sanheim 26, 27 minutes for a month. Like, they could have spread out the minutes more. Now, they might have lost more games, but maybe those guys wouldn't be absolutely gassed right now if they didn't. Like, there's reasonable points of disagreement here where you could say the coaches, the players, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that this just looks like a tired team right now. And I was hoping that they would be able to just kind of deal with it because the teams they're playing aren't that good now. It's like, okay, well, they might be tired, but like even a tired Flyers team should be able to beat the Canadiens and the Blackhawks. Well, apparently a tired Flyers team cannot beat the Canadiens and the Blackhawks because they didn't. So now we're in this position where if they want to make the playoffs, they got to start winning some games. They're running out of time. The one thing that's saving them is that the teams chasing them aren't playing that well either.
Yeah, no one wants to win games.
You would think that at some point some of these teams are going to start winning. So the Flyers need to, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to need to find some way to get energy because the games are going to keep going.
One of the guys I'm looking towards right now is a young veteran, a guy who should be in, the prime of his life. We haven't heard much about him being banged up. It's Joel Farabee. He has 9 points in his last 27 games. He hasn't scored in 7 games. He's minus 20. I realize, not the best stat, but minus 20 in 27 games is pretty bad for one of your better players. Where the hell has he been? 2 shots on goal tonight, minus 2. Just kind of not doing anything.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the few guys, I mentioned this actually in my column, against the Rangers, where, when I was explaining kind of what could have happened, where they could have won this game, it was like, hey, maybe somebody like Joel Farabee, who was pretty much invisible all night, even as, guys like Tippett and Frost and those guys are doing stuff. Farabee wasn't. just like Couturier wasn't. Yeah, they need more from Joel Farabee. You would think that a guy his age would have a little bit more energy right now. I don't know if he's gassed. He might not be gassed. He might just be struggling. Like, guys go through rough patches of the season. Maybe Farabee is not tired. Maybe Farabee is just not playing well, and that's on him. You know, guys got to play better. Like, I'm not going to be too hard on Sean Couturier because I understand that, like, I get why he's gassed. I think that makes perfect sense to me, that given the workload he got the first half of the year, given the layoff and everything, I understand why he is tired. Joel Farabee, I agree. He's a guy where, you know, he should be able to pick up the slack for a Couturier. He should be able to do it. He just hasn't, and it's a completely fair criticism.
And this is my complaint about what's going on with Sean Couturier right now. Like, this isn't about picking on singularly Joel Farabee or anyone. It's just like there's about 3 dudes on this team I think are warranted this ice time, and it seems like, okay, well, Couturier plays 11 minutes a night because, you know, we need more out of him, and he's not giving it to us. Who are these guys right now that are giving it to them? Where are these players that are earning their ice time? Frost, Tippett, Forster, all right. TK, rough night, but he's TK. He's been their best player all year. Who are the rest of these guys earning anything right now?
Well, I mean, if you ask John Tortorella, Brian Paling is definitely earning.
Oh my God! Don't get me started, Charles.
I'm just saying. Yeah, look, and I don't think. I know that this seems really bad right now because they lost to the friggin' Blackhawks. I don't think this is quite like. This is part of what happens when you have a daily show. Like, we have to talk about everything as if it's the most important fucking thing ever. But, like, 4 days ago, they had an incredibly exciting game against the Rangers, who are, like, the 1 seed in the Metro right now, and we're playing right with a really good team. Yes, the last 2 games have stunk. Yes, I think it's reasonable to be concerned that this team might just be out of gas and they might not be able to get it back. It's reasonable to be concerned, but, like, it wasn't that long ago when we were all feeling pretty good about this team. Things can change very quickly, as we've seen. The last 3 days have changed everybody's opinion about where the Flyers are. Maybe on Monday they go out and they win 4-2, and then they have 3 days off, and then they come out and they beat the crap out of 2 bad teams at a back-to-back next weekend, and suddenly they're looking real good again. So I'm not saying that the frustration and the criticism isn't valid, because it is, but I'm just saying that it might not be as bad as it seems right now, just because we're coming off of one of the, if not the worst losses.
I fully understand where you are coming from with that, Charlie, and you're right. Like, we do put things under a microscope that 3 days from now might not matter at all. But this is supposed to be the easiest stretch of the schedule. It is the most important stretch of the season. I'm just feeling like this thing is slipping away for reasons that are within their control. Like, this team got by with a great penalty kill all year. The penalty kill has gone to absolute friggin' shit. Yeah, the goaltending has just dried up entirely. They're not getting any goaltending. The scoring, no one scores anymore. Like, you score 2 goals against 2 bottom-feeding teams. That's bad. And the reason we're on board-ish with the plan not to tear this down, it's because we want to see these guys come through. We want to test them in these meaningful games. This doesn't seem like great culture building to me. Like, oh yeah, well, we're just going to lay an egg when it matters most in winnable games, at home, bad team. Like, I just think the criticism is valid simply because the time of year it is and what the plan is. Like, the plan is to play these meaningful games and show these guys what it's about. If they come up empty, who are these guys then?
Well, I mean, part of it too is that, in theory, because I mean, there's a lot of ways you can spin this narrative. You could say that, well, they're learning what it takes to succeed in these games, and by failing, they can then learn. They can learn to be better in meaningful games in the future. There's a lot of ways you can spin this narrative. In the end, the reason why we're spinning the narrative in the super negative way is because we're pissed off. Because the team lost a game they should have won, and you're mad. So because you're mad, you're going to position things in a way that feeds that frustration. And that's what's great about covering a team. That's what's great about being a fan. Like, that's part of it. I'm just saying that, like, let's see how this all plays out ultimately. I don't think they're cooked. I don't think it is inevitable that this whole thing is now in the process of falling apart. I think it's concerning. And again, to me, the big thing is that, like, if they just are out of gas, how are they going to replenish the tank when they have another big game in 2 days? Then they guess they have the break. And I guess maybe your hope is maybe you get a win somehow on Monday, you get that break, then you have 2 games against teams that you should beat. Now, granted, they just had 2 games against teams they should beat, and they lost both of them. But, like, I don't think this is unsalvageable. They just have to find a way to salvage it, and I'm not going to bury this team until they actually definitely don't salvage it, because they are still on a playoff spot. Like, as frustrating as tonight is, they're falling behind the Capitals, to be sure. The Capitals are going to pass them because they have a better points percentage. They are still in a playoff spot. This isn't over. They still don't have that difficult of a schedule the rest of the way. I'm just saying they can still salvage this. They are just in the mix. They are still in a spot. This isn't over. It's just concerning.
Charlie, Sam Ersson has not been good. Do you think there's a chance we see, like, going into the back-to-back, we expect to see Ivan Fedotov next weekend? You think we could see him on Monday? It feels like that could be maybe one of those sparks, something they could do to try to wake this team up and get a little something extra out of them. Do you expect that to be a possibility?
Well, I don't think they've made the decision one way or the other. The thing is that yet, who knows? They might decide to go with Fedotov on Monday. It's possible. The big thing, and this is what Tortorella said today. I actually wasn't in morning skate because I was still coming back to Montreal, but I watched the video. Tortorella basically said, look, like, I don't know shit about goalies, so I am just going to depend on what Kim Dillabaugh tells me. And if Kim Dillabaugh tells me Fedotov looks ready, he looks sharp, he's kind of in the right mental state to take a game, yeah, maybe they'll give it to him. And I tweeted this out last night that I actually think that there is a decent chance that he starts out quite well, just because, you see it with Ersson. Like, teams are starting to get a little bit of a book on Ersson. Ersson's going to have to adjust, whether that's this season or whether it's next season. He's going to have to make improvements to adjust. The teams are starting to learn his tendencies. Nobody knows Fedotov's tendencies, and he's also friggin' huge. So, like, teams are going to have to learn how to beat this guy. But in the short term, nobody knows how to beat this guy. So he very well could come out, maybe not even play that great technically, but because he's enormous and because nobody has a book on him, he might be able to exceed expectations in the very beginning. And there ain't that many games left. If a goalie steals 1 or 2 games the rest of the way, like, that could be enough to get you to the playoffs. Now, by the same token, I'm sure this has been a dramatic change in life that Fedotov is going through. So I am not ready to just be like, yeah, throw him in because it would be fun. Would I like to see Fedotov sooner rather than later? Yeah, of course. Because I'm a writer, that's a hell of a good story. But I understand if Dillabaugh watches Fedotov, in practice and in sessions, whatever, and is just like, yeah, this dude, if we throw him in there, like, it could be a disaster. I understand. I am not going to be like, leading me like, play Fedotov now, play Fedotov now. If they do, I will find it cool. But I would understand if they look at it and they say he needs another week to really get his bearings here before we toss him into the NHL.
It's just like, man, Ersson needs a day off. It's very obvious this dude is just worn the hell down.
Yes.
And maybe he just doesn't have it. Like, maybe he just isn't good enough. I think it's kind of, we need to really wait on our assessment of him until next season. When he knows what his role is going to be going into a season. And, everything that's happened this year has been kind of insane for him. So I'm not, like, out on Sam Ersson. But at the very least, the dude needs some freaking time. You have someone, let's see it. It couldn't possibly be worse than what they've gotten lately. Charlie, I just have to ask, now, if you are to get Hart Trophy votes this year, where is Sean Walker going to be on your ballot? Because clearly he's one of the best players in the whole league.
Well, apparently he had an upper body injury today.
Yeah, he got hurt tonight. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. Hopefully he's okay, because good dude. Obviously was a really good player for the Flyers this year. It's not just Walker. but it certainly has played a role. And also the fact that at the same time they were the process of trading Walker, they were losing Nick Seeler. Now Seeler comes back today, but that pair was a really good pair for the Flyers. Tortorella said, I believe it was this morning, basically said, like, you can call it our second pair, what it was, but it was kind of like we sort of had two pairs. It was like 1A and 1B, where some nights you use Walker and Seeler more in the toughest matchups than San York. Some nights you use San York more, but like it wasn't necessarily the clear, like if you have a Roman Yossi, like obviously whatever pair Roman Yossi is on is your top pair. Like the Seeler-Walker pairing was really good, and they lost it. And then in addition, they had also lost Drysdale, and they also lost Risto, and they lost Seeler again. And then because of that, you then had to run York and Sanheim into the ground, despite the fact that both are probably playing hurt. And now the whole defense. But by that same token, a point I will make, and I know that the Blackhawks scored a lot of goals at the end of this game, whatever. The floodgates open at the end. Really, for the most part, the defense, if we're purely talking about like shot and chance prevention, has stayed good. Like, I thought the third period in this one, they played poorly defensively, and I thought the third period in New York, they played poorly defensively. Other than that, I guess what? They played 12 periods this week. I think they were really good defensively in 10 of them. Now, what I think is hurting them on defense is that they just don't have the mobility and the passing ability that they had when Drysdale, when Walker was here, when he had the good partnership with Steele. They just don't have that. So it makes it tougher to transition to offense. And then add in the fact that the forwards are just snake bitten at the moment. Like they're missing wide open shots. They're shooting the pucks right into the goalies when they're staring at half an open net. Like everything's kind of compounding itself where the rush game is harder to get going because they don't have the same passing and mobility on the back end. And then the forwards just can't freaking buy a goal at the moment. Like the only time they really could buy a goal was that insane, crazy third period in New York. Aside from that, they've been missing a lot of shots. They've been hitting posts. They've been shooting right into the goalie's chest. Like it's a multifaceted problem, I guess is what I'll say. But I do want to say that I think the defensemen are generally speaking playing good defense. So I don't want to completely bury them. But defensively, the team has been pretty good for the most part this week. It's the offense that's a problem, and the offense also plays into the defensemen. But that to me is the bigger issue, is the offense. And the goaltending, I guess.
Yeah, the transition game seems to like really have dried up, whether it's teams kind of hanging a guy back or the defense just not being able to make those outlet passes. Your top two guys are banged up and tired. Walker's gone. Drysdale's hurt. Like that part makes sense. One of the defensemen who did come back, it's Nick Seeler tonight. What'd you think of him? First game since March 4th. He played 19 minutes, third most on the blue line. Only defenseman who wasn't a minus tonight. What'd you think of Seeler?
Yeah, I thought he was okay. But that's him. Like, he's an okay defenseman. And I like Nick Seeler. He's a great dude. He's not, like, I kind of talked about this, I forget, on one of the many post games we did this week. I don't even remember which one. But I mentioned essentially that, like, it's wild that we are talking about Nick Seeler's return as this, like, huge freaking thing for this defense. And on one hand, it's like, props to Nick Seeler for putting himself in position where we're real excited about Nick Seeler returning. But also, Nick Seeler is not an impact defenseman. He's a perfectly fine defenseman who on a great team is probably a really good third pair guy. He's not going to come back and fix the defense on his own. Now, what I think I would like to see is I don't love this Seeler Johnson.
No.
I just
bad.
I just don't like it in principle, because the reason why the Seeler Walker pairing works so well is that, like, Seeler does play hard and he's good defensively and he throws his body around like a wolf, but he's never going to be a great passer. He's an okay skater. He's certainly not a great skater. Walker was a legitimately good passer and a legitimately really good skater. Like, he can fly. He's a legitimate plus NHL skater. Erik Johnson is basically just resorted to off the glass and out now. He knows it. Like, that's all he can do. And he can't really skate anymore. Like, he is a very slow defenseman. So what you're basically doing is you're putting Seeler with a guy who cannot even come close to replicating what Walker provided. Like, I know they scratched him, and I know he had a really rough game in Montreal, which is why I wasn't mad they scratched him, but I kind of like the idea of trying Seeler with Adder. because Adder can skate, Adder can pass. Now, he makes mistakes. Like, he did not play well against Montreal. That's a fact. But he can do at least some of the things that Walker could do, and maybe you could get something out of that duo. Zamula has been playing well. Jinning is playing about as well as I think he can, but he has inherent limitations. Adder, to me, out of the guys that aren't Cam York and Travis Sanheim, he has the highest ceiling. I'm not even talking about long-term. I'm talking about short-term. Just like in terms of the impact he can have on an individual game just because of his physical attributes. I would like to see them try that duo out to see if maybe they can catch lightning in a bottle and maybe have another pairing that can actually spark a breakout and get a transition going.
All right, Charlie. I think that's basically it. I want to mix it up tonight. And, I mean, if you want to do 3 stars, go ahead. I wanted to do 3 LOLs if you wanted to give anti-stars to people, but it's your call. Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars or opposite of
3 black holes.
Charlie O'Connor. Take it away.
I mean, I guess I could do, like, guys who I thought played especially poorly. I mean, I thought Diego Zamula had a rough game. You know, he has that lost puck battle that leads to the breakaway goal. I thought he struggled, so he would probably be 1. Ersson wasn't great. I don't think he was horrific, but you give up 5 goals to the Blackhawks. He didn't play that well. I thought that second goal, the first one, like, yeah, I guess ideally you hug the post. I honestly kind of put that on Jinning because my thing is you make the first stop on a wraparound. You should never be allowed a second poke at a wraparound. Like, the defenseman should be there to knock the guy on his ass after he gets the first chance. Jinning was late, and the guy gets the second one, and he pushes it in. So I'm not going to kill Ersson for that. But the Kurashev goal, like, it was a good shot, but you got to friggin' stop it, man. Like, you have to. There's no screen. You know, you have the angle in theory. You could be in better position. You got to make that save. And then when the game the Foligno goal, I'm not going to give a shit for. The Anderson, there's a breakaway. Like, yeah, he's been good at breakaways in the past. Would love to have a stop there, but whatever, it's a breakaway. He wasn't great. I don't think he was terrible, but he wasn't great. So he could be one of the 3. I think the third one, I don't know. Everybody was kind of underwhelming. Like, I want to see more out of Couturier. I want to see more out of Farabee. I don't know if Couturier really has anything more to give. I guess I'll say Farabee because I would like to think he does have more to give, and he just isn't right now. But honestly, like, that third one could just be the team because I don't think anybody played well tonight. It was just a rough one.
All right, Charlie. I think that will do it for us tonight. Thank you for joining, and we will talk after Monday's game. 16th game in 32 days. We're just rolling them out there, my friend.
Thriving.
We're doing our best here. We're doing our best.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
That
Charlie.
is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor.
The best in the biz.
And as you know, this and every PHLY Flyers episode, it's brought to you by our friends at Mortgage CS. Listen, the spring purchase market is almost here. It's heating up quickly. Many clients, especially first-time home buyers, they're reaching out because they want to be ready when the rates drop. This is not a unique thought. Everyone is doing it. That means there's going to be limited inventory and strong demand, so competition will remain extremely fierce for the rest of this year. You got to get in touch with Mortgage CS so you can be prepared and ensure you will be able to stand out and make the strongest offers possible. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're looking to refinance, or you just want to know what you have to do to qualify for a mortgage when the time is right for you, Mortgage CS should be a consideration no matter your situation, because Mortgage CS is made up of honest, good people that always work hard to not let their clients down. But don't take it from me. Check out their reviews on Google. They average 5 stars. That ain't too shabby. Let's take a look at one from about a week ago. It says, I learned about Mortgage CS from a podcast. So he's just like you. I learned about Mortgage CS from a podcast. I am so glad I made the call. Ben, Alec, and team were top-notch throughout the entire process. They shopped us around for the best rate possible. In a time with insane house prices and wildly unpredictable rates, the team was able to monitor the rates and got us to catch the lowest dip in months. Their communication is next level, which helps when you're a first-time home buyer. Ben came to closing as well to help explain where exactly our money was going and how to avoid any scams. We couldn't be happier with them and look forward to future business when the time comes. That's something I've told you about before with Mortgage CS. Listen, if you've never bought a house before, like I was a first-time home buyer, unless someone's there to explain it to you, you don't know that, hey, now there's a public registry that you have this mortgage, and guess what? Every scammer alive is going to send you like, we're going to take your house away unless you send us money. Like, you don't know. Like, I don't know, man. I don't want to lose my house. Okay, here's all my money. Like, no, they are there to explain it to you and so much more. They are just the absolute best when it comes to the communication, when it comes to customer service. I've told you that CS and Mortgage CS stands for concierge service, and that's what all these reviews will tell you. So find out for yourself. When you hear the word mortgage, think of Mortgage CS. Think of Ben and Alec. Save Ben's telephone number. It's on the screen, 267-391-7425. Email Ben at Ben@MortgageCS. Call or text anytime, day or night. Talk Philly sports if you're not in the housing market. I bet you he answers. Though. And check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to get started today. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information. No, that's we do have this super chat I wanted to get to, and I love the positivity here from VO Noob. It says Sharks lost 2.0. They'll go 5-1-1 after this. Let's fucking go. Spirit. I want to be able to feel that optimism that I've had about this team all year long, and a win on Monday will restore it for me.
100%.
But after the Montreal game, and I came into this very room and said, I expect them to look great on Saturday. I expect them to answer like they have all year. And then they come out and piss all over themselves at home against the fucking Blackhawks. I just don't have it in me tonight to have that optimism.
That's fair. I'm just hoping to see some adjustments from John Tortorella, because this is his job in this situation to figure out what's going on and try to fix it. Charlie said, bring in Ronnie Attard to play with Nick Seeler, see how that goes. I would like to see them start to try things that can work theoretically, that maybe could work, because nothing's actually working in practice right now. So why not try some shit and see what happens? If not now, when? There's not that many games left. They got to start winning. Throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Last month of the season, Kelly. Can't hold anything back now.
Sure
and no,
can't.
That's like the Nick Seeler return was much needed, because he's a regular on this blue line and has been one of their better defensemen this year.
Right.
That said, like Charlie just broke down, the defense, like the in-zone defense, has not been horrible. Like they just had like 3 games in a row that they gave up 20 or fewer shots, Nick Seeler's just kind of more of what they already have.
Yeah.
Maybe better, maybe like more of it, but they need to get play going the other way.
Right.
And when you have Seeler and Eric Johnson and Adam Ginning all out there, plus your top 2 guys who theoretically are puck movers,
but they're dead,
are out of gas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You just need to throw something at the wall here. I know Ronnie Attard has been whatever for the most part, but he does have, as Charlie, like the physical tools to maybe make a play, to maybe be the one who finally connects on an outlet pass
Eric Johnson,
and sends someone behind the defense.
Eric Johnson can't do it.
Yeah, just not happen.
Can't.
No.
So why not see if someone can?
That was an inspired hit from Charlie O'Connor. He basically told us, for now, we need to chill. I get it.
You think?
It's an everyday thing with this team. It's the roller coaster of the season. We're along for that ride. So we're going to get a little hot under the collar. So we probably do need to chill. And that's why you got to chill with an ice cold Coors Light. Whether you're freaking out about goaltending, the offense, the injuries, the schedule, whatever it is, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies. Because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, and it is maybe for the first time, like the most since I've started using this line, when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, sometimes you just got to chill. When you choose to rise above it all, choose chill, choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. They have to win on Monday. Like, I know I felt the same way about tonight, but now you got to put this one behind you. Like, they're in this six game stretch where I wanted 9 or 10 points. They're not getting there now. They're not getting to 10.
Yeah.
Like, they need now 4 games. They need 8 points in the next 4 games.
You called tonight a must win. Monday is a must win. It's a 4-point game against a team that, like, okay, are they probably out of it? Sure. But they're not that far behind you. And if you keep slipping and they start winning, like, things could flip very easily.
And it is leading into, like, it's that, man, if we can just get this one, then you have the 3 days off before the back-to-back, and you have 2 days off after the back-to-back. The rest they so badly need is coming, but you can't go into it 0-3 against 3 bad teams. Like, the Islanders are in it, and they've stuck in it. They're not good.
No.
Like, the Flyers are considerably better than they are. They have been for most of the season.
Yeah.
You can't just let this thing get away from you now. Win Monday, and then deal with the rest after the break. That's really all you can do. Before we get out of here, let me tell you about Empire Today. That's right, Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, you know they've got copycats, but the copycats can't beat Empire Today on quality, service, or speed. So they just advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire Today won't promise the lowest prices, because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in their own. The Empire philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles. And the virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. All you have to do is snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHLY for details. 1-800-588-2300 Empire. Oh, that was perfect, Kelly. You did it. It's why I need you here. No, man, I'm ready to move on from this game. I'm glad we have had our vent session. I'm glad I had you here with me to experience all that is Flyers hockey. A real throwback to our last couple of seasons, these last few games.
Yeah.
I need them to answer. I really don't want to be mad at them. They've been in my good graces all year. I don't want to turn on them, Kelly.
They're going to get in. They're going to get in, and we're just going to instantly be... It doesn't even matter how they get in, Bill. Once they're in there, we're going to be fired.
Come on. Yeah. No, it's going to... Listen, Ivan Fedotov,
just
game 1. Oh, it's going to be a big one.
Shutting out the Hurricanes.
Shutting out the... can you imagine?
You heard it here first, folks.
That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers postgame tonight. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back with postgame following the Islanders on Monday. So make sure you're subscribed on the YouTube. Set those reminders so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. PHLY Flyers, wherever there are podcasts. That's it. My name is Bill Matz for Kelly Hinkle. Have a great weekend, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.